There we go.
Isaac Edelman here on FL Teams along with Jeremiah Hensley. Jeremiah, the Miami Dolphins dominated. That's all I could say.
I'd love to say dominated. We squeak away with a 36-34, but a lot of good things came out of this game. And Isaac, I'm just going to ask you straight up front because we had this conversation in FL teams. When you gonna give Tua his flowers, man? When are you gonna accept 28 for 45 for 466 with three touchdowns? When? When will you give the man his due?
I'm going to be honest with you. Tua played well tonight. That's all I can say.
Yep.
I saw his aggressiveness. I think this is one of his most aggressive games in his career. This is one of the most aggressive games. He looked like Mahomes at times. He was throwing the ball deep. He wasn't nervous. He just launched it, right? He was like, if it's an interception, it's an interception. I can't have the haters in the back of my mind. I love that. Tyreek Hill did his usual stuff. He dominated over 200 receiving yards. We expected
Unbelievable.
that. But what we couldn't expect is Tua to dominate on the road against Justin Herbert.
Look at it this way. We'll give Tua and Tyreek their thing, right? 11 receptions, 215 yards. Here's what Tua did that people refuse to recognize. Underneath that, Jalen Waddle, 4 receptions. Durham Smythe, 3 receptions. Braxton Berrios, 3 receptions. River Craycraft, 3 receptions. Alec Ingold, 2 receptions. Raheem Mostert, 2 receptions.
Yeah.
Tua used the entire team because he was watching options on where to go and he made the right decisions. And
Yep.
even on those Tyreek throws for 215, they're going to make the highlights. I beg you all, look where Tyreek caught the ball. He was in full stride on his shoulder or on his hip. There was no stutter step wait. There was no jump on the other end.
Exactly.
Tua throws an accurate, catchable ball, and he does it to everyone.
Yep.
And the way he battled today was phenomenal. I'll tell you what I came away worried about though, Isaac, is Vic Fangio and the defense. I don't. I mean, Austin Eckler's a great back. Joe Kelly is not, okay? But they ran free through the
Yes.
tackles,
Yep.
in between
And
the tackles all day.
Jeremiah, I'll set up you for this one. The Dolphins are able to do that on opposing teams, but they never try to because Mike McDaniel restricts the offense.
So I struggle with this, and you heard me all last year run, 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 run more, right? And I'm trying to figure out why we wouldn't. And then it did kind of hit me, right? Pardon that. It did kind of hit me that most teams establish a run for the purpose of setting up play action,
Yeah.
right? And the whole idea of setting up play action is that you get a cornerback or a safety who reacts to the handoff,
Yeah.
right? They stop, they take a half step forward, something to give your receiver an advantage.
Yes.
Miami doesn't need that. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. We don't need the advantage of play action because Tyreek and Jalen Waddle in a foot race will win
Yeah.
every time. And I still wish we would run more, especially near the end of the game, grind it out. I mean, you go back and you look again, Raheem Mostert, 10 carries for 37 yards, 3.7 yards a carry, right? I didn't expect Eric Uzama to get involved. He did 2 carries for 17 yards. Ahmed only 3 for 11. Tua had 5 for 5. But again, Mostert averaging 3.7 yards a carry with a touchdown. We should have relied on that a little more to eat the clock, but we didn't.
Yeah.
That still worries me going forward because McDaniel seems to abandon the run.
Yeah. Well, here are my takeaways, right?
Yep.
Even though the Miami Dolphins won on the road and they came back to win, I'm concerned about a few things. Number one, Jason Sanders. I don't know what happened with that extra point. It seems like if the Dolphins need to rely on, and especially if it comes down to a game-winning field goal from 40 yards out. Number two, what is going on with snapping the ball? If you can't snap the ball, you can't run, you can't pass, you can't do anything except play defense. It is Connor Williams' fault, but one of the snaps was to his fault. There needs to be a mutual connection because even if you say it was Connor Williams' fault, it's a team effort. They both have to do it correctly. So that's my second concern. And my third concern is what happens if Tyreek Hill goes down. The Dolphins rely on him so much. So, Jeremiah, if Tyreek Hill goes down, what can the Dolphins do? Let me just give you a hint. Depth. It showed tonight.
It really did. I mean, I think if Tyreek were to go down, Jalen Waddle is still a fantastic receiver. I was really impressed with Durham Smythe and what he pulled off today with a couple of good grabs. River Craycraft, I think all that dude does is get open. Braxton Berrios wasn't used enough. I think there's enough depth that if Tyreek goes down, we'll never be as explosive as we are with him, but
Yeah.
we're not going to die, right? I mean, I was most concerned if I take one red flag away from this, Isaac. It's not just that the defense got gashed in the middle. I mean, you look at Austin Eckler, 16 carries, 117 yards. Okay. I mean, that's literally almost 8 yards a carry. Okay. Justin Kelly, 16 for 91. That's another six and a half something. Fangio didn't adjust. And that's what worries me. I mean, it's one thing if you get killed between the tackles in the first quarter and the second quarter, but then you adjust and then you stop it. We never were able to stop it. And if you look at the Chargers offensive line, the tackles, their strength. Rashawn Slater, he did a great job on Jalen Phillips all day long. It just seemed like Jalen and Chubb were rushing the outside, and the tackles did a good job of keeping them outside. But Sealer and Wilkins didn't plug the middle the way that they should, and or Jerome Baker. If I call anybody out on this, I'm calling Jerome Baker. Where were you, dude? Where were you? The only reason we got you here is to stop the run in the middle.
We
Where you at?
discussed this on our season preview
Yeah, where
about
you
Jerome
at,
Baker.
Jerome? That worries me.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We can't take a lot from week one, but what we can take away is a win. It's a 1-0 start to the season for the Dolphins. They travel to New England next week. They're coming off a tough loss to the Eagles, but the Patriots did put up a fight. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest, against the Eagles, who many people had making the Super Bowl, if not winning
Yep.
the Super Bowl. Before we end it, Jeremiah, what can we expect the rest of the way? Week one is now in the books.
The Miami Dolphins are explosive. Their offense is going to be hard to stop. That's plain and simple. You're going to have to get to Tua. We didn't even really touch on it, but the offensive line did a great job today of keeping a solid defense away from Tua. If
Yeah.
Tua has time, he's going to be hard to top. He's going to be hard to beat. They're fast. The defense has to get better. It looks like you can run the ball against them. Hopefully that'll get adapted. But Isaac, what I'm taking away is not a lot of people gave the Dolphins a chance or credit. If you're a betting man, you notice that the Dolphins were going in as 3-point dogs. There are pundits across the NFL landscape that have the San Diego Chargers in the Super Bowl. We went into their house on week one in a shootout and walked away with a W. I think the Miami Dolphins deserve some respect. I think it was a great showing. Um, and the defense has just got to get better. That's what I'm gonna take away from this.
Yeah, I remember in the past few years, it's been Tua being a manageable quarterback, if not below manageable, and the defense just sells the team out and wins us the ball game. But today, it was Tua's show, it was Tyreek's show, and guess what? The Dolphins got it done. That was our game reaction. Isaac Edelman, Jeremiah Hensley, the Miami Dolphins come back to win on the road in Los Angeles. Can they do it again next week on the road? Maybe they won't need to come back because they'll have to lead the whole game. We shall see. Mac Jones and the Patriots are next up. You'll see us again next week for a game reaction. So make sure to subscribe to FL Teams on YouTube and at FL Teams on social media. Fins up.